Good day here at Brookings Radio. We welcome Brookings School Superintendent Summer Schultz. Dr. Schultz, good to see you once again.
Good to see you, Perry.
We're here. School has ended at the 2 elementary schools and about to end at all the schools.
Oh,
unbelievable!
It is amazing how fast the years go. And I know that's a cliche, and we say it every year, but as a mom and as a new superintendent in this community, it flew.
Hillcrest and Madera, obviously, school ended yesterday, Wednesday. And move out time.
They are moving and grooving. And I tell you what, the staff has been just wonderful. I mean, it's a big load to put on them at the end of the year when they are, always have so many things on their plate anyway. And so these 2 extra days, although I know it's an inconvenience for parents, they've been very supportive too, to allow us those extra hours to get moved out.
And, maybe it's time to talk about that. What is getting moved? I mean, obviously books and materials and all that. What about desks, things like that, shelves? Are they going, or is it all going to be new, or a mix?
It is a mix. It's a balance. We try to be particular about what we saved and moved, and making sure that we did still utilize the equipment that still had some life and some value in it, but also knowing that, in those 2 older buildings, there was a lot of older equipment also. And so that's where the surplus piece came in.
Sure. I would imagine hundreds of computers involved. And then I just popped in my head moving the library.
Yes, there's a lot of books.
That's a task.
Lot of books.
And as someone who has a lot of books, I hate moving books.
Yes.
How long is that going to take, the move to the new schools?
Well, I tell you, we have to be out by the end of the day here.
So
Friday.
you have a deadline Friday.
This weekend, we do have the rummage, the district rummage, where people are able to come and continue to purchase things that haven't been taken from other school and government agencies and that sort of thing. And
sure.
So Brian Luters, he's in charge of the rummage, so he's going to have some fun. It's kind of his way of parting also with his retirement. I think it's going to be a nice way for him to be able to visit with people too, and have people tell him, congratulations on his leaving also. So it'll be a good weekend.
You're able to talk him into one more year, but
maybe.
Well, you were last year because he was going to retire last year.
He was, yes. We were able to get one more year out of him.
But that's going to be it, the way it sounds.
Yes.
Okay. Brian Luters, school business manager, has been for, I don't even know how many years now. It's been quite a few.
It has.
I think it's close to 20, but don't quote me on that. I'll check. And when I do the story on it, I'll get it right.
Sounds great.
Then the demolition begins. That's the next step.
It does. It starts right away next week at Madera. And so, I believe it was 2 board meetings ago, maybe the work session, we did share the graphic for those interested to be able to see specific dates. And next week, it really gets rolling at Madera, and that's why we had such a quick turnaround with the surplus items and the move out. And so at Madera, we did save some of the building, that's
right.
being utilized again. And so that's where the time crunch really comes in order to be finished for an on-time fall of 2024 start.
Hillcrest a little later because there's some mitigation that has to be done with asbestos, I believe it was.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's talk about some other items that came up at this week's school board meeting. 3 high school students came to the public session of the meeting and address their concerns about potential cuts at the high school. And I wanted to talk to you about that because they identified classes that were being cut and teachers that were being eliminated. But that's not necessarily the whole story, you say.
Yeah, it's always hard, especially this time of year. And I was so proud of those 3 individuals. And I don't know, my job might be in jeopardy. They spoke very, in the future, as far as we might have some future school leaders on our hands there. And it was just nice to see that, 1, they had done some homework, and 2, they showed up and they advocated for their school. And what a great,
in a very civil way.
In a very civil and professional way. And I was very proud of them for that.
There's a few adults who could learn from them.
Yeah,
I'll just say that.
And they looked professional and they spoke professional, and I was very proud of them. When it comes to this year's budget for budget production that we've done, it's hard to say what is a true cut and what was maybe money shifted. We did have to eliminate some things. And each building administrator really they were able to take ownership of their buildings and their budgets. And I believe I've shared we had $1.4 million in people that were paid for out of ESSER. And then
which was the federal pandemic funding.
Payout. And so then on top of that, we also had a deficit from this current year's budget, along with, that then carries over into next year. And so that's almost $3 million. And so we had to expect, and we did know that there would be some replacement and movement of people, unfortunately, when over 80% of a district budget is personnel. And at the high school, they are working right now on schedules, and that schedule also does dictate some of the staffing changes. There were some additions in places also. And so, as building administrators, if they wanted to add, say, in one particular area, it maybe did then take away from another area. And our CTE folks, that's one area that we've talked about and is getting a lot of attention. I'm a big proponent of CTE. And
career and technical,
and we just need to keep building those programs up. We absolutely do. But one of the things that the kids were talking about was a halftime egg teacher, instructor. And so what we can do in that situation is that particular person also had other duties. And so if that is now a full-time teaching load, along with offering courses maybe every other year, that sort of thing, I believe that was some of the strategy behind that particular position. But it's just really hard when we do need to eliminate. The budget needed to be fixed, and we're not even there yet. But we're making some really good progress.
And some of the classes that will be eliminated didn't have that many students in, I understand.
Exactly, and that's what's hard. It's always hard to say if when kids registered for classes, if things would have changed had the class stayed. But if a class isn't having a large number of students registering for it, that's something that building principal needed to consider, especially in a year where something did have to go. And so all of those things make up the decisions those principals and administrators made. But again, it's great that there's people advocating for all of our programs, and I guess that makes me happy.
Early childhood, where are we at?
We are rolling on that too. We actually just had interviews this week for preschool teachers. So again, all three buildings will have preschool opportunities that include our early childhood special ed students along with preschool classrooms. So all three, I do believe Dakota Prairie Preschool is, I believe that they are at a point that it could be a wait list. Keeping in mind that this first year we're only opening one preschool classroom in each, knowing that we will grow. But the collaborative is we are still working hard together to gain community support and partnerships. And so there's a lot more work that needs to be done with that. But it's exciting to know that we have made it to a point where we can say there will be preschool in all three K-3s next year.
Which is amazing.
It is. It is so necessary for communities to take, to implement that. It really does have that return on investment that can't even be described in numbers, but the research is very clear that it will pay off.
One other thing we should mention is special education, which is difficult for many schools, including Brookings, which has seen a big increase. And a study is underway right now on maybe ways that they can save money.
It is. Our budget for special education, and again, coming in new, it's hard for me to just, fix it, quote unquote. And we do have a very high deficit. And so that is something.
There was like $1 million increase?
$1.2 million was what we were over budget. And so the state does have ways for you to ask for some of the extraordinary cost funds, and we have to do that. But we also have to be diligent and make sure that we're being strategic. And and respectful of the fact that all schools in the state are asking to take money from that area. And so we have Marzano, and we're just at the point of formulating it. Yes. Yeah. And we utilized ESSER dollars for that. That wasn't general fund. And now we work to really take a hard look at that program and our staffing and training and resources and make sure that we're as efficient as we can be.
Because chances are the program's not going to shrink.
Exactly.
Yeah. I wanted to save this for last because it's great news. Brookings has 2 of the state's 3 presidential scholars, Brookings High School. I don't remember that ever happening before.
I don't think it has. And I will be honest, what a way to end a week. Last week, I received an email from South Dakota Secretary of Education, Dr. Graves, saying, Dr. Schultz, how awesome and maybe a little selfish that Brookings received both. And at first, I wasn't quite sure what he was talking about. And wow, what a celebration for us. It's just that true testament of our kids and our students and just how talented they are.
Congratulations, Cameron Lounsbury and Owen Burns. I mean,
yes.
That's pretty amazing.
I had both of them come to the school board meeting. Sometimes those meetings can get long and they can get hard. And yet when we bring kids like them in to say, this is what it's about, it makes us all stop for a second and think about that goal. And those 2 really represent our school community so well.
I mean, again, think about it. 2 traditional presidential scholars from South Dakota, both Brookings High School.
There's only 2, and they're both ours. And what a way to celebrate the end of the year and to say, wow, we're doing pretty good.
Brookings School Superintendent Summer Schultz, thank you very much. Right here at Brookings Radio.